Now in this lecture, let's try to integrate social login into our EazyBank application with the help of GitHub Identity Provider. If you observe the current login page, the user can only enter his username and password, but there is no option of social login like GitHub or Facebook. In order to integrate social login into my login page of my EazyBank application, I can go to the KeyCloak admin console, go to the identity provider, select the option which you want to integrate. In this scenario, since I want to integrate GitHub login, so I'm selecting GitHub. So here it will ask you, give me your client ID and client secret which you have received from the GitHub while registering a client with it. So if you can recall, in the previous section, we did a GitHub integration, and at that time we have a client ID and client secret. So we need to mention the same here. So if you can go to your GitHub profile, there is a settings option. Under settings, you can select developer settings, click on OAuth apps. So you can see I have an app right now. I'm just clicking that. So here my client ID is so and so, and client secret I already save it when I am registering very first time. So I have my client ID and client secret in my hand. If you want, you can upload the logo here. Application name, you can rename it to, like, instead of Spring Security OAuth 2, you can mention EazyBank as an application name. So homepage URL is localhost 4200. Now coming to authorization callback URL, if you go to the admin console, your KeyCloak is telling go and give this URL as your redirect URL. So I have to copy paste this and mention here under the GitHub. So I'm just clicking update application. So now I have done all the changes that I needed on the GitHub OAuth app. So here I just have to give the client ID. I'm just mentioning my client ID and client secret. Now I can go and click save. So with this, I should be getting now a GitHub login option also inside my EazyBank application. So let's see that magic. So let me go to the localhost 4200. So if I click a login here, you can see along with the username and password right now, it is also giving an option of GitHub login. So if I click GitHub login, it will ask you, these are the user details that I received from the GitHub. So please fill other details which are mandatory in my system. So first name I'm giving Easy, last name I'm giving Bytes. So as soon as I click submit, a user is created inside KeyCloak Server, but don't expect the password details of GitHub will be stored inside KeyCloak. That will never happen. So whenever I click GitHub option, my KeyCloak Server will go and try to get authentication and authorization from the GitHub. Once the user details are validated, it will show the dashboard page. But in this scenario, since GitHub does not giving the roles that my page is expecting, which is admin and user, I am not able to display anything to the user. So let's try to remove our roles restriction for dashboard in the UI code. So here for dashboard, I'm removing the roles restrictions that we have. With this, I'm saving and rebuilding the application. So now I'm clicking login. So you can see I'm getting the dashboard details because there is no role requirement right now we have. And of course, one of the drawback that we'll have when we use social logins is they don't share the information like the way we expect. Like in this scenario, for my application, I'm expecting roles to be written from the authorization server, but I can't do that customization at the GitHub authorization server. I have to live with whatever GitHub is sharing to me. So due to that reason, whenever you have a custom requirements, never ever go with the social logins. Instead, define your own requirements inside identity and access management products like KeyCloak, Okta. But for now, I just integrated for your reference how KeyCloak is going to provide those out-of-box features for your login page. I can show one more time also. I'm just clicking logout. So this time I opened the home page inside a incognito tab. So I'm just clicking login. So if I click GitHub, it is asking me, you are about to use EazyBank with the help of GitHub authorization details. So I have to give my username, which is EasyBytes, and the password of my account. So as soon as I click sign in, you can see my KeyCloak server will redirect me to the dashboard. But definitely I can't use any of these tabs because I don't have roles coming from my GitHub authorization server. Whereas if I try to log in with the KeyCloak authorization server, definitely I'll have the roles that I'm expecting and I can use my EazyBank application happily. And one more last thing that I want to show is whenever an user uses GitHub and tries to log in with GitHub, you will get his user details created inside KeyCloak also. This is because GitHub is fine to share my profile details with the EazyBank application. That's why I'm able to get the basic details of the user from the GitHub, but never ever I'll get a password of the user. Every time my access token or refresh token is expired, my user have to do again a login operation with GitHub by entering his correct credentials. So that way my KeyCloak and EazyBank application always have an access token which they can use for authentication and authorization purpose. Hope you are very clear how easy it is to integrate any social login with the KeyCloak server inside a login page. If you want, you can disable it or delete it permanently with the operation of delete edit options here. For now, I'm just clicking delete. So this will delete the login operation using GitHub. I can also confirm by going to login page again. So now I'm clicking login. This time there is no GitHub login option to the user. So this way we can integrate any social logins to your website with the help of KeyCloak server very easily. And of course, every identity and access management products like Okta, ForgeRock, they will also provide social login features. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye.